So great couple panels to start things off. I feel like Crystal was like really teeing me up for a solid brothel joke, but my amazing head of PR is like right in, staring through me, so I think I'll save that for later. But so I'm Jeff Katz. I'm the U.S. head of verticals for the auto, restaurants, travel business at Roku, and I'll let you all introduce yourselves as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla Malin. I'm the Global VP of Brand Marketing at Beyond Meat.
Restrepo. I lead our brand and product marketing as well as our insights at Taco Bell.
I'm Katie Taylor, and I lead our brand and marketing strategy team at Taco Bell.
Awesome. All right, so both Taco Bell and Beyond Meat have cult-like followings, so I'm sure you get all sorts of fun cold calls about collaborations. Real quick, by the way, we collaborated, if you notice. We're in similar colors here. No applause. That's fine. Remember that when you're spending your marketing dollars with certain partners that just went silent on you. That's fine. So along those same lines, what would you say is like the most interesting collaboration request or cold call you received? So I'll start on Kate.
Oh boy, I feel like you should have ended with me. Okay, I think you're going to feel like you're having a fever dream when I tell you this, so just brace yourselves. I was brand new at Taco Bell. It must have been 2012 or 2013. And I was like an associate manager. I got this email, and I feel like I need to keep it anonymous, but it's going to be hard to. And it was an email from a rep who was like, hey, this individual, who is an artist, rapper, shoe designer, and was married to a very influential, like, female family in Calabasas. He has this idea, and storyboards are attached, and we're really excited to give us a call. Okay. And the storyboards were dinosaurs holding these women, like a T-Rex holding them, and Taco Bells. And that was the idea. And I think I might have called that, guys. I was new. I didn't know if I was supposed to. I think I called that person. Now I'm not sure if it was actually a fever dream at this point or not. Had an awkward conversation. Was like, I'll talk to PR, Matt Prince, and then get back to you. And then I'm pretty sure Matt was like, Katie, why did you even call them? I don't know. They said it. But it was bizarre. We did not do it. Spoiler alert.
That was going to be the follow-up.
Taco Bell music video.
Never say never.
True.
All right, Luis, can you top that?
No way. No, not a chance. No, I've only been with Taco Bell for 9 months, so like I don't get the cool phone calls that Katie gets. I do get a lot of the franchisees and other stakeholders call me and say, hey, how can we get some merch? People are obsessed with our merch. Everybody. And I take that for granted. So, yeah, once in a week, especially with the announcement of decades, my phone's been blowing up. Can we get some merch? Can we get some merch? So I'm the merch guy.
Awesome. So we have a big partnership with Madison Square Gardens, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, a lot of plant-based meat consumers are based on the coast and in New York and LA. So as a result, we get phone calls now from every single stadium in the country, hoping that they can offer plant-based meat to their fans. And unfortunately, we don't have, you know, an endless budget, so we can't say yes to many of those sports partnerships. But the one that actually, ironically, just came across my desk yesterday was from NASCAR. And so that's just like not a good consumer fit for us. So we're thinking middle of the country, not really into plant-based meat, probably not too aware of their carbon footprint. So that was we probably won't be returning that call.
I'm based in Chicago, so I can definitely sympathize with that. So Beyond Meat has been the market leader in the substitute meat category. I held for applause there. Anyone want to applaud Carla for dominating the market share? So how do you continue to lead and grow that market share?
Yeah, so plant-based meat has been a very interesting category for a few years. There's been a lot of ups and downs. And we are proud to be the market leader. We have highest brand top-of-mind awareness as well as highest brand loyalty. So it's really great strength for us to build on as we continue to grow the brand. The thing for us that we really have to focus on is not only nurturing the core consumer group, people who are meat-free eaters who have been loyal and committed to the brand for many years, but really how do we broaden our appeal to flexitarians? And we really do that by making sure we understand the role that food plays in their lives and how to reinforce their interest in plant-based meat and making them feel really positive about the choice they're making, as opposed to trying to convince people that it's the right thing to do and making them feel guilty about the other choice they might be making. And so we really try to bring people in a very inclusive, positive way.
Yeah, I really like that. So for you, Luis, in an environment where consumers are cost conscious, is there a battle to change the minds of diners who might associate better for you with bad for your wallet?
Yeah, I can start there, especially in our industry. I think this year has been particularly eye-opening for all of us. I don't think we've ever been this off-sync with the consumer in terms of what their expectations are from us, collectively, as a category. And so we took that this year and really listened to what consumers were doing. We looked at competitive landscape, and it was clear that consumers are expecting to go to QSR and be able to get something at an affordable price point. And how that defines something is two ways. One is something for a low price, and then a full meal for a clear low price. If you look at the category, other competitors, everybody else is making consumers do really complex math to get to what the deal was. Or if they got a deal, it was almost a compromise because either the size was small or it was an item that wasn't necessarily what was within the core offering or something that was most favorable. We made two choices, and I think that's just part of what's helping us stay relevant, especially in the value space. We launched our Cravings Value menu at the beginning of the year, 10 items for under $3. A third of consumers who come to Taco Bell now shop off that menu. And then the other one we launched a couple of months ago was our Lox Box, our $7 Lox Box. And that was all about clarity of price point and just telling consumers you don't have to compromise to get a good value. You can get an abundant meal for a really good price point. And everybody else was launching at 5, 3, whatever. We launched at 7, but we knew we had the best meal from a value perspective. We were nervous, we were vulnerable from that perspective, but what we heard back was consumers saying, thank you, you heard us. You're clear, it's an offering that we understand. It's something that it's really indulging in a good way, and we've been really glad to see consumers react from that perspective. But it is really, really hard. It's a hard economy, and consumers' expectations just continue to go up, so we can't let them down.
Yeah. So along those same lines, Katie, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I had the 59 cent, 79 cent, 99 cent, jingle scarred to my memory. Remember going through the drive-thru and seeing that. So knowing that in this current environment, obviously inflation is a huge topic of conversation, especially with it being an election year. How do you sort of provide customers that respite from inflation and focus on value? Certainly Luis mentioned the $7 Lux Box being one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I think value, the definition of value has really evolved in the category as well. I think you mentioned consumer, what they expect from us is really elevated, and a lot of categories are starting to collapse. And so fast casual, like the Chipotles and even Sweetgreens of the world, because of the value equation being off in QSR, the difference to move from fast food up into that category is a lot smaller. So you're seeing consumers start to shift up. And also, because we are fast food, they are also shifting down and into grocery. So it just leaves us really, really vulnerable. You even have casual dining like Chili's running ads that are directly calling out fast food as, why would you go there when you can come here and get a full meal of 3 courses for $10? So it just becomes incredibly, we thought it was competitive before. I've definitely never seen it like this in the 12 years that I've been at Taco Bell. But it certainly requires us to deliver value in more ways. So Luis talked about the $7 box, Cravings Value menu. We also talked earlier about kind of innovating on that higher end. So that Cantina chicken menu is really about, we have a bowl that I would say is comparable, if not better, than the Chipotle bowl, and it's more affordable. So we are starting to just innovate up and down from a value perspective, and value is no longer just the price point, it's really the full experience, and how do we make sure we're delivering on that?
Yeah. Similarly, the #1 most searched term on Roku is free, and it has been for the last 2 years. I was supposed to include that in my question. That's just a shameless plug for Roku, America's #1 streaming platform. Streaming universe. Call me if you want our email. So you guys have like cult-like fans, as we saw in the sizzle reel and as Taylor and you all have spoken about. So how do you maintain that 70% market share and grow that market share, but then when you're bringing in new customers, like have them grow into being fans that are obsessed with Taco Bell or obsessed with Beyond Meat? So I'll actually
So for us, it is about really, really understanding what our core consumer wants, and then how to engage them in the conversation so that they are being heard and that we're really building that community. And so a big part of it, of our brand, is that we are just at, we are in a cultural moment, whether we want to be or not. People are always talking about the intersection of food and health and the intersection of food and climate, and therefore we really have to make sure that we can stay in that conversation in a relevant way, but also in a positive way. Because again, we can't make people feel bad about the choices that they're making. Leaning into animal welfare in the US is not a key driver for consumers. It's not a reason that people generally choose to go plant-based. So we have to focus more on what it is that they are interested in, which is more about building our health credentials as a brand and talking more about the positive choices that they're having on the climate and the planet and resources. And so really it's how do we develop content that is engaging for our consumers and allowing them to be part of the conversation, and then ultimately we find that those consumers really, really become evangelists of our brand and are leading the charge in a lot of the conversations with other people, and a lot of the fights on social media, they're kind of leading it on our behalf.
What I know you're only a few months in, Luis, but what have you seen in terms of just the obsessive fan base that Taco Bell has?
Yeah, I think it goes into a little bit of the magic part. I think there's not really a science, but it's about listening to the consumer. We have consumers that love certain items, and they beg for them to come back. And so we're doing that. But I think the other one is this brand has been a part of kind of their life and their culture. And Taylor gave a head nod to that, but everybody has a Taco Bell story. Right? Like my first date to my wife was at a Taco Bell. And I didn't think I'd work at Taco Bell at that point, but here I am. Also, my dog's named Nacho. After Nacho's polka dot day, he's 10 years old, so testing. But point being, I think it's everybody has a Taco Bell story, and it's because we've been part of kind of your college story or when you first started your job. We've always been there for you, and so that richness of kind of attachment between the consumer and our brand is a huge part of why we continue to have that connection.
Yeah. Katie, do you want to answer that one, or do you want to have a couple other Taco Bell specific ones?
Keep going, yeah.
So I know everybody in the crowd can name a Taco Bell menu item that they love, especially from the 90s or that they miss. So you've talked about the decades and nostalgia, but what is the one item that you feel like you get approached about the most that people want back on the menu?
Oh, I'm gonna go with what I asked myself to bring back on the menu. The naked chicken chalupa, I still think this is my shameless plug. Love it so much. But I do think crispy chicken from Taco Bell is always incredible, and we tend to just do it for short spurts at a time. So my dream would be if we could figure out a way to unlock that long term. If anybody in the front row would like to take that challenge on. But yeah, I think we actually do an incredible job with crispy chicken, and I would love, as a consumer, to have it every day.
There's one more item, if you guys look it up, it's called the Bell Beefer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your next dog?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking
No,
for
it's
the
iconic. And no, people just keep asking about the Bell Beefer, and it goes back to you just have this attachment to something that was your memory structure early in life, and they want it back. So yeah.
Well, that actually is a great segue to the next question. So you landed the plane for us. Thank you. So contrary to nostalgia, Beyond Meat's messaging tends to be about the future, and you've referenced several times, like investing in your health and lifestyle and structure. So how are you thinking about, again, maintaining that core of fans and being the leader in the market, but then bringing new people into the fold outside of this?
Yeah, Beyond Meat is a very progressive company. We are absolutely founded in order to address some of the biggest issues facing the world. And so there's no doubt we're very future focused. But at the end of the day, what is going to resonate with consumers is really understanding the role that food plays in their lives, their daily lives, and how do we balance convenience with nutrition, with culture, with inspiration, and that is the daily challenge, for us as a brand, is really unlocking the things that consumers are looking for today, tonight, to solve their challenges and what's for dinner, as opposed to the loftier, what will it mean for the world when, 50% of consumers are eating plant-based meat. And so we really have to find that balance, and ultimately, for us, it's really about providing meal inspiration for consumers, and that's really it.
All right, so Katie, this is our last question. So outside of not greenlighting, whatever concept that unknown rapper had early on in your career, we got a lot of marketers in the room here. So what advice would you give them in terms of helping to foster brand advocacy?
I think we talked about it earlier today too. It's take big swings. That's why we're all marketers. I think that's what gets us up in the morning, and oftentimes we can lose sight of that in the monogamy of making sure you're hitting targets and you're, achieving the KPIs. And we're all marketers because we love to listen to stories, or we love to tell stories. And so I think just reminding ourselves that that's why we're here, is to take those big swings. And you want to look back at a legacy of where you took chances, and sometimes they worked out and sometimes they didn't, but you will never know if you don't try.
What about you, Luis?
Yeah, I think as a marketer, I think your number one job is to not let your brand become irrelevant. Sometimes we get so focused on what's right ahead of us, what's short term, that we don't create the mind space to think about how do you make sure that your brand is not the one that gets disrupted and you become irrelevant. I think obsessing over what's right now is as important as it is obsessing over what's going to take to continue to win in the future. So just be intentional about creating that space for yourself and for your brand.
All right, and then Carla, you finish this up.
I don't know if I have anything else to add. I think that you guys nailed it.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. Awesome.